Define nationalism. State the difference between nationalism and aggressive nationalism. Nationalism refers to the sense of unity felt by the people, who share a common history, language and culture. This feeling of unity soon turned into extreme pride, which made the people of many countries believe that their country is superior to the other countries. This led to the development of aggressive nationalism in Europe. Therefore, aggressive nationalism meant love for one's own country and hatred of other countries. State two features of imperialism. Two features of imperialism are: imperialism refers to the state policy or practice by which a powerful nation establishes its control over another country, either by direct territorial acquisition or by gaining political and economic control. Once conquered, this country was claimed as a colony. These colonies were governed and administered by the imperial nation through its representatives or a puppet government. Question 3. What was the cause of Franco-German rivalry? Answer. Germany defeated France and annexed the French territory of Alsace-Lorraine. The war and the subsequent annexation caused widespread resentment and a strong desire for revenge in France. This was the cause of Franco-German rivalry. Question 4. How did the Sarajevo crisis in 1914 lead to the First World War? Answer. Sarajevo crisis. The immediate cause of the war was the murder of Archduke Francis Ferdinand, the heir to the Austrian throne, on 28 June 1914 by a Serbian at Sarajevo, capital of Bosnia. Austria served an ultimatum on Serbia on 23 July making 11 demands. Serbia accepted most of the demands except those that would have led to the loss of her sovereignty. How did the Sarajevo crisis in 1914 lead to the First World War? Austria declared war on Serbia on 28 July 1914. Russia started preparation for war to support Serbia. On 1 August 1914 Germany declared war on Russia and on 3 August, war was declared on France. German troops marched into Belgium to press on to France on 4 August and on the same day Britain declared war on Germany. Thus, the First World War began. Question 5. Which country was blamed for the assassination of the Archduke Francis Ferdinand? Which country declared war on Serbia? Name two countries which supported Austria. Answer. Serbia was blamed for the assassination of the Archduke Francis Ferdinand. Austria declared war on Serbia. Two countries which supported Austria were Germany and Turkey. Question 6. Why did Britain declare war on Germany in 1914? Answer. Great Britain declared war on Germany on 4 August, when the German army invaded Belgium whose neutrality had been guaranteed by England. Question 7. Name the 5 major powers who got involved in the hostilities in 1914. Answer. The 5 major powers that got involved in the hostilities in 1914 were Austria, Germany, Russia, France and Britain. Question 8. Why is the war fought between 1914 and 1918 called the First World War? Answer. The war fought between 1914 and 1918 is called the First World War because of the following reasons. The war was fought on the land and in the air, on the sea and under it. In the war were mobilized all methods of destruction, such as tanks, submarines, gunfire and bombardments. The war began in Europe, but very soon it spread to continents of Asia and Africa as well. Question 9. Which country withdrew from the First World War and why? Answer. Russia withdrew from the First World War after the October Revolution. The Russian Empire had suffered serious reverses in the war. Over 600,000 Russian soldiers were killed. The day after the Bolshevik government came to power under the leadership of Lenin, it issued the decree on peace with proposals to end the war without any annexations and indemnities. Question 11. Name the country which emerged as a world power after the war. What happened to the Austrian Empire after the First World War? Answer. The United States of America emerged as a world power after the war. After the First World War, the ruling dynasty of Habsburg in Austria-Hungary was destroyed and Austria and Hungary became separate independent states. Question 12. What was the effect of the First World War on the colonial possessions of industrialized countries? Answer. France got back Alsace-Lorraine, which she had lost in the Franco-Prussian War, 1870 to 1871. France was given full ownership of the rich coal mines in the Saar Basin for a period of 15 years. The fate of Schleswig was determined by a plebiscite. Germany had to surrender the areas of Eupen and Malmedy to Belgium. The city of Memel went to Lithuania. The newly created state of Poland got back all the territories she had lost in the war. What were the three causes that led to the World War I? Number 1. Race for armaments. Germany had acquired colonies in Africa and a few islands in the Pacific. In order to protect her colonies, Germany began to build a powerful navy. The Germans dug the Kiel Canal deeper so that battleships could find shelter in its waters. There was an arms race, and the peculiar feature of such a race is that if one country increases its armaments, other countries are compelled to do the same. Such a race for armaments could end only in a war. Number 2. Division of Europe into two armed camps. In 1879, Germany and Austria-Hungary had signed a treaty to help each other in case of enemy attack. 3 years later, Italy joined the pact, which came to be known as the Triple Alliance. As opposed to the Triple Alliance emerged the Triple Entente comprising Britain, France and Russia in 1907 to control German expansionism. Thus, Europe was divided into two major camps. The suspicions, fears, rivalry and enmity between the two camps was a major step towards World War I. Number 3. Sarajevo Crisis. The immediate cause of the war was the murder of Archduke Francis Ferdinand, the heir to the Austrian throne, on 28 June 1914 by a Serbian at Sarajevo, capital of Bosnia. The assassination was organized by a secret society called Black Hand, or Union of Death, formed by extremist Serbian nationalists. The First World War was fought on many fronts. Explain in detail. The First World War was fought in many different areas called fronts. War on the Western Front. The war began when the German armies swept across Belgium and entered southern France. The French army along with the British army met the German forces in the Battle of Marne, after the river near which the battle was fought, some 15 miles from Paris. The European countries made use of the troops recruited from their colonies in the war. Trench warfare. The opposing armies dug a series of trenches to defend themselves and to launch attacks. Living conditions in these trenches were pathetic. War on the Eastern Front. The fighting began with the invasion of Russia by Austria-Hungary. Germany and Austria succeeded in repulsing the Russian attack and capturing parts of the Russian Empire. They were also successful against Romania, Serbia and Italy. Outside Europe, Japan occupied German possessions in East Asia, and Britain and France seized most of the German colonies in Africa. Policy of blockade. The war involved total mobilization of all the resources of the warring parties with all economic activities subordinated to the needs of the war. It also required that no goods including food, raw materials and war materials should be allowed to enter the enemy territory from anywhere. Entry of USA in the war. In 1915, the German U-boats had sunk a British ship Lusitania. The Americans were generally sympathetic to Britain, and this incident further roused anti-German feelings in the USA. On 6 April 1917, the United States of America declared war on Germany. Exit of Russia from the war. Another major development that took place in 1917 was the withdrawal of Russia from the war after the October Revolution. Question 10. Explain briefly the Treaty of Versailles. Answer. The victorious powers or the Allies met in a conference first in Versailles, a suburb of Paris, and later in Paris, between January and June 1919. As a result of the discussions at the Paris Conference, on 28 June 1919, the Treaty of Versailles was signed. It ended the war. The basis of the treaty's negotiations was the American President Wilson's 14 points. The treaty was designed to prevent Germany from going to war again. Question 12. What was the effect of the First World War on the colonial possessions of industrialized countries? Answer. Besides territorial losses in Europe, Germany lost all her colonies and overseas possessions. Togoland and the Cameroon were partitioned between Britain and France, and German East Africa was shared between Britain and Belgium. Palestine and Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq, were also held by Britain under a mandate from the League of Nations. Question 14. When and why was the League of Nations formed? Answer. The League of Nations was created as a world organization of all independent states in 1920. The horrors of war convinced the leaders of the world that there must be a mechanism to prevent war and promote international cooperation. This culminated in the setting up of the League of Nations.